Today we have somebody who is not a new name as far as consumer brand is concerned. They have one of the most reputed consumer brands in the country, the Godrej, and then of course one of the most renowned developers in the form of Godrej Properties. The group has now forayed into housing finance via Godrej Housing Finance. Manish Shah, who's heading this venture at the Godrej Group, is joining us for a discussion. Manish, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time. First of all, I'd like to ask you, clearly it's a forward integration of sorts for the group, but it's a pretty competitive space, crowded as well, banks, NBFCs already. I want to understand from you what's your strategy to compete and carve out a niche. Even real estate was very competitive when Godrej's group actually forayed there, and they managed to do a pretty decent job there. What's the strategy here in housing finance?
That's right. Hi Ajay. Thank you for having me. Firstly, very nice to be here. Just doing a quick check that you can hear and see me. I'm not able to see you guys, but that's probably okay. Am I audible?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. We can see you.
Sorry. Yeah. So, great to be here. And over the last couple of months, it's been interesting, post we've launched. But to your question why did we get into this space? It's a competitive space. Why now? Honestly, every large market isn't very different. And if we look at the last couple of years, especially post IL&FS, if anything, actually the competitive intensity has gone down. And what we're seeing with our customers is more than ever before, especially post 2020. There's been a clear demand from consumers to work with players who are trustworthy, who bring strong reputations, to their dealings. And if our early start is anything to go by, we're quite enthused by the partnership that we have. Our starting point was to partner with Godrej Properties to deliver real value to consumers looking to buy a home. You mentioned in the introduction that both of these are intrinsically linked. You don't desire the home loan for itself, but really for the asset that it can make possible for you as a consumer. So our first sort of, when we look at our strategy, our first goal is to delight consumers and to be able to make a significant impact in the home buying journey. There are quite a few opportunities, for us to innovate in. It's a large business. It's an old business. One would think that there are, strong entrenched players, which, by the way, there of course are. There's no taking away from that. But there's quite a few areas, and I'm happy to talk more about that as we go along. But there's quite a few areas that consumers, where they haven't been served well enough. Just affordability in making that asset possible. There's been, there's work to be done there, and we're very happy with the start we've made in that area. People want more options in terms of just how they can design their payment plans, their repayment structures. So there is a lot of work to be done there, and we're quite happy with the start that we've made. Thinking about, getting into a business which has strong players. Actually, the last few years have been interesting in that, and we see this both in the in the liabilities market as well as when we deal with consumers on the demand side. That I think the stronger players have emerged stronger even, and that polarization is playing out, and we're quite glad to see the impact of that.
Right, Manish, I'm sure that this business will also benefit from the strong legacy and the trust the environment, especially the consumer environment, have put in the Godrej brand in the last couple of years. But purely from the business side, how exactly are you going to differentiate your offerings as far as the landscape is concerned, the competitive landscape is concerned, what others are doing?
From the consumer's perspective, I think there's two broad areas that they're looking at. One is where you really have to compete, which is table stakes, if you will. Consumers are looking to deal with folks who are trustworthy, with brands they can trust. There are a few things that are table stakes, which is the pricing of the loan, the tenure of the loan, how much money they can borrow, the certainty with which that they can deal with. The second part actually is the two or three pillars on which we're basing our entire customer proposition on. One is there's a lot more to affordability than just the interest rate. So one key pillar for us is affordability. And that really is about, can we get started? So I'll give you a few examples. Can we get started with lower payments and go up as we go along, as people's incomes go up? Can we look at building in payment plans that allow for events? So for example, typically there are people who are buying into properties with the intention of living in it 2-3 years from now, but currently pay an existing mortgage or have an EMI. Can you build payment plans that make it more affordable to take the purchase decision now, but repay over a period of time and up that? The second piece is again around flexibility, and we're going to be looking for. You can look forward to us delivering strongly, on both these fronts. Flexibility in terms of, are you allowed to play around with how you can design some of your repayment plans? Can you look at, for instance, skipping an EMI when you've got larger expenses? Can you work with bringing in your own contribution over a period of time, instead of having to pay all of that money which is your contribution upfront? This is on the core proposition side. The next bits that we hope to delight consumers with is delivery. How easy is it for you to get the mortgage? How quickly can you communicate your decision? So, for example, one of the things that customers found delightful about us is you can go into a project, look at an apartment, and within 15 minutes of meeting us, you can get an instant sanction. You can know, what the terms of the loan will be. So well before you've left the project, you have a sense of, what the terms are going to be, and you can decide with certainty. Over the coming quarter, users will be able to actually go end-to-end digital with us, where before you've left the project, you can know for certain what your eligibility is. You'll be sanctioned the loan, and you know that these are the final terms and conditions. You will have done a video KYC. You would have uploaded your documents with us. The last but not the least really is, we sometimes forget that mortgage borrowing, a property purchase is a multi-decadal relationship. There's a lot more about this relationship than just when, you take the loan. So for instance, you have tranche disbursements, which are often agonizingly, slow, where a buyer, often has to coordinate between the property developer and the lender, for tranche disbursal. So innovating, in the post-sales process, where at a click of a button, at an SMS, you can sort of communicate, the customer can communicate to us saying, go ahead and pay the developer because, the payment plan has been reached, the slabs have been reached. So all of these put together, we believe we can have a small impact in the consumer space. Our original goal was in the first 4 months of launching, we should be able to serve 1,000 customers, disburse 1,000 loans, and happy to report that that we are well on our way to doing that.
Right. Manish, good timing also to launch the business. The real estate cycle seemed to be just troughing out here in India, and early signs. Just in the morning, we had Manish Shah also on the channel, and he was also talking pretty positive on the incremental demand. Want to understand what kind of targets have you set for yourself, for the company over the next, not near term or medium to long term, looking at the environment and the phase of the cycle you're launching the business in?
Sure. You're right. Actually, it's been pretty good timing, just in terms of we're coming off a whole bunch of challenges. There were some challenges pre-COVID. COVID, of course, severely challenging on multiple fronts. We're seeing the demand picking up. So we look at 2 or 3 goals that we've set for ourselves. The near term, like I was talking to you, our immediate goal really was to make sure that we're delivering real value to customers. So our immediate goal this year was to serve 1,000 customers before the year is over. Our medium-term goal is to look at a 10,000 crore balance sheet over the next 3 years, spread across housing, and later in this year we'd foray into the loans against property space. Over a 7 to 8 year period, we feel fairly confident of being able to build a book of 30 to 40,000 crores. And of course, we'll have to make adjustments along the way, but this is what we're looking at. And in doing so, we want to be very, very careful about, how well we are serving customers as we build this, build on the current foundation, and doing this profitably, I beg your pardon, as we go along.
Right. All right, Manish, we'll let you go on that one, and best of luck for building this business on this entire journey. We will definitely tracking it with you. With that, let's take a break. That was Manish Shah of Godrej Housing Finance. On the other side of the break, we'll put the spotlight on other developing stories and stock moving ideas, so don't go anywhere.